Hi students, our topic for study is thermodynamics. So thermodynamics is a branch of physics which deals with the transformation of heat energy into mechanical energy, or you can say in general from heat energy to other forms of energy. So in our day-to-day life we come across many situations where these principles of thermodynamics can be applied from right from the cooking to automobiles, from our electricity. So in many situations you can see that somehow that is connected to the conversion of heat energy into some other forms. Okay, so all these processes can be explained by using the thermodynamic principles. So the basic requirement for a thermodynamic process is a thermodynamic system. Okay, so what is a thermodynamic system? A thermodynamic system can be anything. It can be a gas that is taken in a cylinder. So that is the most common example which we quote in the case of a thermodynamic system. So anything like that. See, in different situations, you can see that some steam or steam engines are there. There were that steam can be used for converting that heat energy into mechanical energy, or this the production of electricity. Okay, steam is generated initially, and that can be converted, and that is used for turning or rotating the turbine, and thereby converting that energy into electrical energy. And that is one example. So a gas that is contained taken in a cylinder is one example of a thermodynamic system. So that need not be always the case. Okay, you can have say liquid surface or a liquid film, or that can be considered as a thermodynamic system where the surface tension depends upon the temperature, or a stretched string can be used, or that can be considered as a thermodynamic system. And you see, when you stretch or compress it, you can see that the temperature of that particular material will change. Okay, so in that way you can have a large number of systems, thermodynamic systems. Okay, so if a system that can be used for this particular change, or the change in the, or changing one type of energy or heat energy into another type, so that can be taken as a thermodynamic system. So there is no restriction that it should be a gas that is taken in a container like that. Okay, so the case is different, and this thermodynamics can be applied to even physics, chemistry, engineering. Many branches of science are there where these type of systems are being used. Okay, so the basic thing that we require is a thermodynamic system, because in order to have a thermodynamic process you need to have a thermodynamic system. Okay, and say the thermodynamic system, a thermodynamic system can be specified using some parameters. Okay, so they are called the thermodynamic variables. And what are the thermodynamic variables? So they are the pressure, temperature, volume, and then we can have entropy. Okay, the entropy is also there. Pressure, temperature, volume, and entropy. Okay, so and also you can say there can be the density of the material or the given substance. Okay, so something related to that. So that can also be taken as a parameter. So usually the pressure, temperature, volume, and this entropy are the thermodynamic parameters. Now, see, when you specify the pressure, temperature, volume, entropy, you can say that is a particular thermodynamic state of the system. Okay, so any process that changes any of these variables, that is called a thermodynamic process. Okay, any process which changes the values, the parameters, that is pressure, temperature, volume, entropy. So that particular process is called a thermodynamic process. So see, I am just giving you some basic ideas which you must have already studied. Okay, so we need to study. The first thing is that you have studied the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay, the zeroth law of thermodynamics. So what is zeroth law of thermodynamics? You know that you have already studied. Suppose there are two systems A and B. and these two systems are separated by a wall. Okay, and they are isolated from each other, and then these two systems are in contact with a third system. So this is A, this is B, and this is C. Okay, so A and B are isolated by a wall between these two. Okay, so that is an adiabatic wall, because there should not be any heat exchange between the A and B. So suppose A and B are in equilibrium with the C, then you can see that these two systems will be in equilibrium with each other. Okay, that is, if two systems are separately in equilibrium with a third system C, then you can see that these two systems A and B will be in equilibrium with each other. So that is a zeroth law. Or you can say, if you have three or more systems are there and they are all in equilibrium. Okay, they are all separated by, say, diathermic walls. So that means they can exchange energy, and they are, suppose they are all in equilibrium. Then you can see that if you take any two systems from that one, they will be in equilibrium with each other. Okay, so it is the zeroth law. Now, what is the importance of zeroth law? Zeroth law actually allows us to define the temperature. See, if these two systems are in equilibrium with C, then we have seen that these two A and B will be in equilibrium with each other. So there must be some parameter, or there must be some function that actually defines the state of the system, and that particular parameter should be the same, isn't it? So that is what we call the temperature. So temperature is a parameter that defines whether or not a system is in equilibrium with another system or with the surroundings. So that function that defines the equilibrium, or you can say that that particular function is called the temperature T. So zeroth law actually helps us or directs us to define a term, that is temperature, which defines the equilibrium. Okay, the thermodynamic equilibrium, thermal equilibrium, I mean the thermal equilibrium between the different systems. Okay, now see, we will see something about the concept of heat. So what is heat? Heat is a form of energy. First of all, heat is a form of energy. Okay, so we say that it is an energy, it is energy in transit. That means, see, we can make use of that particular energy only when this heat energy is flowing from one system to another system. Okay, so if we will not say that this much amount of heat is in that, okay, because we cannot make use of that one. Suppose if you are taking a system, then it has an energy. So whatever system, you can have gas, liquid, whatever, it has an energy, because these electrons, or I mean the atoms or molecules in that particular system will be in continuous motion. So it has a certain energy. Okay, you have studied the case of internal energy, we will see that. So that energy is there, but there is no way in which we can make use of that, and we can make use of that only when this particular energy flows from one position or one system to another system. Okay, so then in that path you can convert that into mechanical work or other forms of energy. Okay, so heat is the energy in transit. Okay, so we can say something like the case of work done. Okay, we can say that a particular amount of work can be done by a system. Okay, so during a certain process. Okay, so work is not stored in that particular system. Energy, so something like that, we can say heat, it can have, or it has a meaning only when that can be extracted from that. Okay, otherwise we don't have any use for that heat energy. So heat is called the energy in transit. Okay, and what about the first law of thermodynamics? That also you must have studied already. So first law of thermodynamics. So first law, when we speak about the first law of thermodynamics, see, first thing we have to define is the internal energy. Okay, so what is, before going to that, so what is internal energy? Usually that is represented by U. Okay, that is, what is internal energy? Internal energy is actually the total energy of the system. Okay, so the particles, suppose we are taking a gas, so these particles are in continuous motion. Okay, so it has a particular amount of kinetic energy. And also, if these atoms or molecules are interacting with each other, then you can say that there will be potential energy also. So if there is repulsion or attraction, then there will be, that means there must be a force field. Okay, if force is there, you can say it has a certain amount of potential energy. So the total energy, the potential energy is there, the kinetic energy is there because of the random motion of the molecules. The total energy, that is called the internal energy of the system. Okay, so the first law of thermodynamics states that if an amount of heat energy is given to a system, that will be used for two purposes: for increasing the internal energy of the system, then doing external work done. Okay, so if an amount of heat energy is given to a system, that is used for two purposes. First one, for increasing the internal energy of the system, and then increasing the, or doing the external work. Okay, small amount of energy is given, heat energy, that is why we have du plus dw. Okay, and sometimes it is written as delta Q is equal to du plus delta W. Okay, this is also written, and that is because, see, du is an exact differential, and these two are not exact differential. And the meaning is that, see, this du is a term that depends only upon the initial and the final states of the system. Suppose we are having a system, suppose this is P and this is V, and then suppose a system that suppose this is a process, we have P1, V1 is there, and at this particular point we have P2, V2 is there. Okay, so that means when the volume expands, the pressure decreases. That is the assumption I have taken here. So the first position is taken as P1, V1, P1, V1. Okay, and the second position is P2, V2. Okay, so here, see, this change can take place along different directions. Okay, so there can be different type of processes, or that means isothermal, adiabatic, whatever, there will be different, we will see after this one. So here, see, the initial point, initial state is P1, V1, maybe at a particular temperature T1, and this is P2, V2. Okay, maybe at a different temperature T2. So from here to here, the first point to the last point, we can have different paths, isn't it? So you can move along this particular direction, move along this particular direction, different directions are there. So if you take this particular path, the work done is delta W. What is delta W? Delta W is equal to P dV. Okay, P dV. So I think you have already studied that one. So dW equal to delta W equal to P dV. And then the total work done will be integral of this one. So integral P dV is actually, suppose if you are take, this is 1, 2, 3, and this is the area under, suppose we are taking the 3, path 3. The area under this graph will be the work done. Okay, the area under the graph. And if you are taking the path 2, this area, that will be different. Okay, so this area under the graph, that gives the work done in moving from one point to the another point. Okay, so that will be actually a path dependent function. Okay, that is a path dependent function. So delta W is, it does not have a unique value, that depends upon the path. Okay, and delta Q, then also that depends upon the, that is the amount of heat that is required for this particular process. Okay, and that is given. That also then depends upon the path, because if the path is different, the energy requirement will also be different. Okay, so you can move from one point to another point, from this place to another place through different ways, okay, different paths. So the energy consumed will be different. Okay, but for this du, or the change in internal energy, that depends only upon the initial and the final points. So whatever be the direction that is taken, or whatever be the path you are taking, the initial and the final values of the internal energy U will be the same. That actually depends upon the temperature. Okay, the temperature of this position and this position. So you can have a long way, or you can have some other ways from along any other direction. So that depends upon only upon the initial and the final position. Whatever be the path you are taking, if you reach the final destination, the same final destination, the internal energy change will be the same. Okay, so that is called a state function. Okay, that is called a state function. Okay, or that is an exact differential. So these two are not exact differential. That is why it is written like this. So in some textbooks, it is written as using this particular notation: delta Q equal to du plus delta W. Okay. Now we will move on to the different thermodynamic processes. So I will explain to you what is a thermodynamic process. So it is a process in which the thermodynamic variables will change from one value to other value. So maybe one parameter will be changing, or more than one, that depends. So anyway, there will be a change in the thermodynamic variables. Okay, and such a process is called a thermodynamic process. Now the first one, you can have, the first one will be an isothermal process. Okay, so what is an isothermal process? Isothermal process. And in isothermal process, the temperature of the system will remain a constant. The temperature will be a constant. Okay, temperature will remain a constant. Such a process is called an isothermal process. Okay. Now, what is the equation for an ideal gas? We have the equation PV equal to N into R into T. Okay, where R is the gas constant, N is the number of moles. Okay, PV is equal to nRT. Now, see, for 1 mole, the equation will be PV equal to RT. Okay, and if in a process the temperature is the same, or that is a constant, you can write that PV is equal to a constant. Okay, so that is a thermodynamic process. Okay, so we have PV equal to a constant, and again T is a constant. See, the internal energy U is a function of the temperature only. So if the temperature remains the same, so it is moving from P1 V1 to another position, that is P2 V2, then if the temperature is the same, that means the internal energy will be the same in both positions. So what will be the change in internal energy? That is delta U, that will be equal to 0. So for an isothermal process, the change in internal energy delta U will be equal to 0. Okay, so we have, this is the equation, PV equal to a constant. So this is the equation for the isothermal process. So you can say that if the initial position is having value P1 V1 and the final position is P2 V2, you can say P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Okay, so this is the equation. Now Second type is the isobaric process. Isobaric process. So what is isobaric process? Isobaric process is isothermal, you have a temperature constant. And here you have pressure constant. Okay. So isobaric process, we have the pressure will be a constant. Okay. So if pressure is constant, okay, how the equation PV equal to RT. Okay. So this is for 1 mole. Okay. So isobaric process, you have the pressure will be a constant. Okay. So that means if you take this P to the right side, you can write it as, okay, you have the equation PV equal to RT, and we have V is equal to RT by P. Okay, so R is a constant, P is a constant now, so you can write V is proportional to T. Okay, V is proportional to T. Or you can write V by T is a constant. Okay, so we have V by T is a constant. Okay, so for a system, if it is changing from the initial state to the final state, suppose V1 and T1 are the volume and temperature for the first state, and V2 and T2 are the volume and temperature for the second stage, then V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Okay, so this is the equation for the isobaric process. Okay, so in isobaric process, pressure is constant. So you can see that since the pressure is constant, the volume will change. Okay, the volume will change, and also there can be possibility that the temperature will also change. Okay, so this is the situation if the pressure is kept as a constant. Now the third one is the isochoric process. Isochoric process. Okay. And in isochoric process, you can see that the volume will remain a constant. Volume is a constant. Okay. So what about that case? So volume is a constant. So that means volume is constant, R is constant, and you can write P, the pressure is proportional to the temperature. Okay. Or you can write P by T is a constant. That is P by T is equal to a constant. Okay. P by T is a constant. Okay. So you can say if it is moving from a particular initial state that is given by P1 T1 to another position where it is a P2 T2, P1 T1 and P2 T2. Okay. So you can write P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2. So that is the case with the isochoric process. Okay. Where the volume is kept constant. And in the last case we have the isoentropic process. Isoentropic process. Maybe using that name you may not be familiar with that one, but if you write that as adiabatic process, okay, you must have already studied it, of course. So adiabatic process is also called as an isoentropic process in line with all these names. You can say it's an isoentropy, or that is also called the adiabatic process. So in adiabatic process, the system is, or the thermodynamic system is isolated from the surroundings. Okay, so that is the main difference between the other process. It is isolated from the surroundings. So in that case, you can see that there is no heat exchange between the system and the surroundings. So this is called isoentropy because entropy is directly connected to the heat that is received by the system or that is taken away from the system. So that is how, if there is no heat exchange between the system and the surroundings, then you can see that that is called an adiabatic process, and in that case the entropy will remain the same, or the change in entropy will be equal to 0. So that is why it is called an isoentropic process. It is also called the adiabatic process, and we know that the equation will be P v raised to gamma equal to a constant. That is the equation for the adiabatic process. Okay, you must have studied it already. And what is gamma? Gamma is a Cp by Cv, isn't it? Gamma is equal to Cp by Cv, the specific heat at constant pressure divided by the specific heat at constant volume. So we will study, we will derive this equation in the next class. So for the time being, the equation will be P v raised to gamma is equal to a constant. Okay. So these are the different processes: the isothermal, isobaric, isochoric, and the isoentropic. Okay. Now, so you can see that, say in isobaric process, the pressure is a constant. That means the system has to expand. If you are heating that one, in order to keep the pressure as a constant, it has to expand. That means external work will be done in the case of an isobaric process. And what about the isochoric process? The volume is a constant. That means this is not expanding at all or compressing at all. Volume is a constant. So in that case, we say that in this particular case, there is no external work done, because the external work done equal to PdV, isn't it? Or pressure into the volume change. Okay, PdV is the work done. So if it is not expanding or there is no change in the volume, that means the external work done will be equal to 0. Okay. So these are the different processes you have to discuss. Okay. So we will see the equation for this one in the next class. Okay. So we shall stop here.